I spent 3 days staring at a wall. There are a couple of things I need to say before telling the story itself. I don't use social media, I don't play games, and I journal every motherfucking day, at least a page, and I have been doing that for about 4 years now. I'm going to try to explain what I did there. I found a place, contacted the owner, I prepared some clothes, I prepared some journals. So, I brought like 8 of these. This was my main one. I filled it out. It was like half filled. I filled it out in 1 day, in 2 days actually. And I started this one. This is technically day 2 still. And I kind of started like 35 pages, something like that. So I brought 8 of these. I didn't even fill 2. I get to the place, I turn off my phone, I literally just start writing. How did it start? So basically there's a video. Hamza made a video about how to find your purpose in life and how to learn what do you do with your life, how to get your shit together basically. It's something like finding your purpose in life. And the main thing he says is you need to dedicate some time with absolutely no distractions, in solitude, alone, literally just doing nothing, thinking about your life. And he picked up that method from the book The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. And he says basically the same thing. You need to spend some time alone. You need to spend some time alone doing literally nothing. Literally nothing. Just journaling and staring at your wall. I did exactly that for 3 days. For 2 nights, I did that for 3 days. I did that exactly for 3 days. Probably the thing that I didn't expect the most was lust. Literally thinking about porn and jerking off on masturbation and shit like that. I didn't expect that at all because, well, I thought I would crave my phone, reading or anything else, but I didn't really need any of that. My mind was creating that shit on its own. That was pretty fucked up if you think about it. That was the problem. How long did that last, that distraction? It lasted for exactly 3 out of 3 days, for 100% of the time. How did it go, right? How did it start? Where did it start? So, about the hours, the first day I started, I got to the place and turned off my phone at 11 a.m. And I turned it on exactly 3 days later, 72 hours later at 12 p.m. Literally after about 5 or 6 hours of just sitting there, my mind started to wander about some dirty shit, you could say, some not good stuff. Yeah, that was the thing that I got distracted the most with. It actually got to the point when I was actually dreaming porn, like full on porn. And my friend asked me to not describe it, but I'm going to describe it right now. I even actually remembered the length of the video I was watching. That's pretty fucked up, dude. I remember the girl, I remember the genre, I remember what she was doing, I remember her body, I remember everything, and I watched it full. And that was in my dream. That wasn't even all. that was the first night, the first dream, and there was a second dream of the first night, which was like this. Like, picture a Soviet, like Soviet Union slash Japanese school, like those weird corridors, those weird halls, and those weird classes, like classes, right? So it's like it cuts to this scene. I'm going down the stairs, turn right, enter a classroom, and it was apparently like a manga slash anime uh, workshop or something like that. And I get a sudden urge to jerk off there, like for some fucking reason. It's still a dream, by the way. I get that urge and I start searching for something to jerk off on, right? That's a pretty weird stuff. So I open a closet, like right to me, and this like a classroom. I enter it. I get there. I open it, and I see there like two journals slash workbooks, which were about how to draw hentai. I remember literally every motherfucking picture there. It was so perfectly detailed. I have never seen anything like that in my life. And yeah, how does your brain create that shit? It's pretty weird. So, second day starts. I wake up. My dick is rock hard. I don't know what to do. I shouldn't jerk off. I didn't. I did not yet. And I start my day. I go on a walk. I climb some mountains, explore there, and shit, come back. In the first room on the second day, I was sitting there under the sun, like kind of warming myself up, thinking about stuff, right? So I was sitting under a window, and I fell asleep. I don't know how much time passed there, but the sun wasn't there anymore. So probably a couple of hours. I mean, it moved. So I wake up and I want to go to the bathroom. I go there. I piss. And I kind of start to jerk off. Quite literally just start jerking off. And my dick didn't even get hard. Literally after 5-7 seconds I come. Then I realized, what the fuck have I done? Okay, I'm just trying to highlight everything here. There is also one thing that I kept coming back to in the midst of suffering. I wanted to cry out of nowhere. Literally just cry. And that's probably something that kept pushing me to that point. That's probably what it was. I wanted to cry. And about suffering, I kept remembering a line from the book The Way of the Superior Man, where he says, like, feel through your suffering, feel through it, penetrate it to the core until you find your purpose, until you fall through to your ultimate purpose. I kept remembering that line, and I very often felt suffering. And the way I would describe it is like this. Imagine you're in abyss, like there's literally nothing, and you have that feeling when you shouldn't go in some direction, and literally thousands of hands catch you and try to pull you in that direction, and you can't help but feel that pain in your heart, in your brain. Your heart literally tries to get out of your chest. It starts pumping in one way or another, and you kind of start shaking your body, trying to let go of it, but it doesn't let go. You don't want to go there, but it keeps dragging you there. That's how I felt very often. The first day it was like once, the second day it was like 30 or 40 times probably. At least 20 times. At least 20 times. And third day, it was like the entire motherfucking day. Like 6 or 7 hours probably. It exactly felt like that. Exactly in those moments I kept remembering that line and trying to catch that something. And I actually did catch something. I remembered I learned what I wanted to do with my life. It was like this. How do I put this? Well, the place I was staying at was freezing cold. Like extremely motherfucking cold. It was painfully cold on my feet. Then I remembered my mother. Literally it was like this. At around the 9 a.m. I think. I didn't have watch there. So around that time I remember that my mother is actually standing there in the shop in blistering cold. Trying to make money to pay for the rent, to pay for the food. While I'm out here in another country doing fuck knows what. I remembered that. I remembered how shitty I felt in my life. I remembered how fucking painful it was sometimes. How painful it is to find money to pay for your rent. How painful it is lifting shit in the shop. I remember how much suffering my mother goes through every motherfucking day for years. It's been like 6 or 7 years now. It is very, very painful. I remember how shitty I feel every motherfucking day working 9 to 6 just to pay for the rent of this dorm. I remembered how many times I swore to myself I would never let myself to feel like this again. I remembered how many times I swore to myself I would get out of this rut. I remember how many fucking times. My God. It was a battle, dude. I remember what I wanted to do, and I never wanted to feel like this again. That's what I remember. And exactly in that moment, when I asked myself, probably for the millionth of time, what is my mission? What is my purpose? What do I want out of this life? I realized that I don't ever fucking want to get back here. I don't ever fucking want to get to feel this ever again. I don't ever want to get to feel the feeling when you don't have money but you have to pay for the food, for the rent, when you have to pay for something but you can't. I don't ever want to feel this ever again. I don't ever fucking want to get back to this. I can't really describe it how fucking strong I feel about it. I don't ever in my life want to feel like this again. I don't ever want to feel like this again. And my mission in life is now to get to the top 1% of men. To get to the top of the world. To get to the top 1% of men. That's my mission in life. That's what I realized. Literally after that, I start packing and I literally got back here. Just like that, just like it was described. Once a discovery has been made, it is followed by intense action. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to get to the top of the world, and my way is this right now. probably what you're watching right now. There were a lot of things I thought about, a lot of things I considered, a lot of questions I asked myself. There were a lot of things I discovered about myself, but here are the main ones. For me, the distraction that I have in my mind, probably the strongest and the most unhealthy one, is lust, porn addiction, and masturbation. While I have not been watching porn or masturbating for a couple of years now, it's still apparently in my mind. That's something very, very fucked up. I also thought about the relation to women for men, the importance of women in a life of a man, and what a man should focus on instead. I thought a lot about my mother and how much she suffers right now. I thought a lot about just what was the point in life. I thought a lot about God. I thought a lot about mission as a man, and about missions that a man could have. I came to this conclusion basically. I don't ever want to feel like this ever again. I don't ever want to feel the bottom ever again in my life. I don't ever want to get back here. And my goal, my mission as a man, is to get into top 1% of men, to the top of the world. That's my mission.